Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now today we're in a bit of a different location because I've managed to go off my arse and clean out the shed. And by God did it need a clean. A lot of crap came out of this blooming place, I can assure you that. But the good thing is, I've managed to fill the wife's car with it, so if I don't finally get a chance to offload it at the local tip before she comes back, then it becomes her problem. See? Method my madness. Anyway, today we're doing a pale ale, and it's from Marstons. Marston's 61 deep. Don't know what that's supposed to refer to, but I'm sure it's probably written somewhere on the label. It's going to be so wonderful and interesting and probably enlightening as well. Anyway, 61 deep, pale ale, 41%, 500ml bottle, just slightly low, below £2 a bottle. And here we go. 61 deep pale ale, 61 metres. That's the depth of the well at the brewery that gives this refreshing pale ale its name. Woo! The 5 American and Australian hops give it its fresh, zesty aroma, whilst the tropical fruit and citrus notes make it extremely drinkable. Dive in. There you go, and that's it. Nothing really else. Strange why it's got alcohol 4.1% volume, and then they've got 4.1 alcohol by volume. Don't know why they put it on twice at the back label. I don't know, maybe that's for some different countries that need to be written out certain ways. But does it say anything else at the top? There's something on the neck. What's with the 3 barrels? Burton, the town. It is Marston's, the Burton Union, our unique brewing system, and DE14 Innovation Brewery, brewing the future. I don't know what that's about. It's just a lot of piss. Anyway, I've managed to, when I came out here, I remembered the bottle opener, because that'd have been the thing, wouldn't it? Different location, but no bottle opener. Don't. I've just cleaned this place. Don't bloody piss all over me. I don't want that. That would be one, wouldn't it? Cleaned it all next minute and christening it with beer. Right, got a clean glass. Managed that as well. So let's pour it out and see what it does. Oh God. The reason why there was such a big clean-up job in the shed, well, in this shed, we already did the wife's shed across, but my shed, a lot of boxes. It was a kind of remnants of the lockdown we had, you know, whenever we were buying things from Amazon and God knows where. And it just, boxes went off. And the problem is, as usual with any local kind of refuge and rubbish recycling, they take the bare minimum. You know, they give you this teeny little box. Yeah, that's for your bottles and for your boxes. And you can probably surprising that I have quite a few bottles that I have to basically put through the recycler because of all the beer reviews I'm doing. But also, I mean, even when you flatten down the boxes, the only way I found that I could get rid of a lot of boxes and a lot of kind of guff, basically kind of that kind of spam mail that you get through the door and things like that, was to actually shred it. And I managed to fill the box up completely shredded. I did that a couple of times and I managed to get rid of quite a lot of the stuff, but oh, it was just ridiculous, some of the boxes and the dates that we're going back to, just because, well, everything was just overwhelmed. Lots of stuff are coming in and you've only got really one avenue to get rid of it. So the wife's car's now full of it, and at some point, hopefully next weekend, I'll have a chance to go to the tip and get rid of it. But anyway, back to the beer. For people on the podcast, it's kind of a slightly darker, kind of gold, kind of dark gold, nice clear ale, a little bit of carbonation, not too much. What does it smell of? Well, I was getting floral notes. I actually thought I was going to get more citrus, but no, I'm getting floral notes, which is quite nice. A little bit of citrus, Not really getting any malt, not really getting any grain, just getting kind of hop aromas. But yeah, a little bit of citrus, bit of floral, and that's really it. And for the people in the podcast, the head is now completely buggered off. And this is a nice clean glass, in case anybody says, oh well, the glass is going to be wonderfully clean. No, I do like clean glasses. Jesus, I wear them enough. Anyway, let's see what it tastes like. Not too bad. There's a floralness there, and you get some nice kind of bittering kind of hop flavours, but you're also just getting little accents of citrus as well. So yes, it is a little bit more hoppy than malty, but you'd probably expect, going by what the label is, it being a golden ale. But also, it's actually quite nice, to be totally honest. It's quite nice because it's got a nice bitterness, but it doesn't have that kind of pithy kind of citrus sourness that you get. So it's giving you the bitterness from the bitterness hops and the floral from the bitterness hops, but it's not giving you that kind of horrible pithy sourness from the citrus. You're just getting a light citrus accent, and it actually kind of works. It's a nice blend. Fair play to them, they've actually got the balance quite right, especially with the hops, because of course, let's be totally honest, especially with more of the kind of citrus style hops, things can go south quite quickly, so they can. And yeah, well, we've all tasted beers thinking, what the hell have they done? But no, I quite like this. There's a nice kind of balance. Not the most liveliest beer, but in general actually not too bad. The flavour profiles are quite nice, the intensity is quite nice. There's a kind of cleanness to it, and yeah, overall I was actually quite surprised, because again with Marstons, well, let's be totally honest, they're nowhere near what they once were, and they have kind of sold out to a certain degree. They have more of a history of brewing good breweries and killing off good beers than they actually are of brewing good beers. So there you go, but yeah, fair play to it. This is actually quite nice. It's just nice that to get a golden ale where there's a nice balance of bitterness and some nice flavours, but it's not either over sweet or over sour, because this is what I usually find quite a lot right now with golden ales, especially pale ales, that you're getting a lot of citrus sourness. They're going for that. Anything that's got pale ale in it, well, it's got to be treated like an American IPA or an APA or whatever, and that type of stuff. And I think that's a bit kind of one-dimensional, very blinkered in your outlook. And you get towards golden ales right now, and a lot of the kind of golden ales, they're just overly sweet, quite a lot of them. And yeah, again, not particularly happy about that. But yeah, this is not actually bad at all. Right, let's break down the flavours. Starts off, you get a little bit of malt, a little bit of grain, and just a nice underlying sweetness, but a nice controlled one. Nothing too much at all, just how it should be, that kind of nice balance between the three of them. You've got the maltiness, and you've got the grain, but you've got the sweetness that kind of backs up the maltiness, and that's it. It's nothing more than that. It's just nice, and it kind of runs all the way from front to back, but it moves on to the kind of mid-tongue, and you're starting getting the nice floral notes. So you are just little accents of citrus. The grain's still there, a little bit less than, of course, on the start of the mouth, and so is the maltiness. The maltiness a little bit less than at the start of the mouth, but still a good level. It's just quite nice. Strange how you never really got the smell of that in the aromas. So you're starting to think, well, is it going to be lacking in malt? But no, I'm not saying it's overly malty, but it's there. It's not hiding. You don't have to go and find it. It's there, and it's a nice level. It's not to a level where it's going to start competing with the hops, because it's really more of a hoppy beer than a malty beer, this one. But there's a nice level where they work together and they're not kind of trying to kind of fight and jostle for position. But what I like as well is you still have the kind of underlying sweetness, but it hasn't really dissipated. It's at a nice level at the front of the mouth that it doesn't really have to drop down. It just continues. It's quite constant, and it works well with the hops. And of course, we've already distinguished that it works quite well with the malt as well. So it's a good kind of level, but nowhere near could you class it as sweet. But it just provides what it needs to provide. But when you start to get near the end of the mid tongue, that's when you start getting a little bit of the bitterness coming through, which is quite nice, but it's quite light, and it just kind of works well between the floral notes of the hops and the slight kind of citrus aromas. And it's nice to have kind of citrus but with a nice kind of bitterness, rather than having citrus and not have kind of pithy sourness that you get. But then it moves on to the aftertaste, and this is where it's really quite nice. It's probably the best part. I mean, the first two parts are actually quite nice, but this is where it probably has its real best point. In the aftertaste, this is where you get a little bit more of the bitterness of the hops, and you get a little bit of bitterness, the kind of floral bitterness associated, and you still get the little aromas of citrus. But because you have that sweetness, the two of them really work together, and they actually kind of blend quite nicely. And it's actually quite a nice finish, because you're getting the bitterness, but you're also getting that nice level of sweetness there as well, and it just kind of balance each other out. And it just gives you a really nice kind of light, refreshing kind of finish. And I've got to be honest, fair play to Marstons, that I was kind of dubious with this. I think, oh, pale ale, what the hell have I done? Here we go. It mentioned citrus in the label. So what am I going to get this time? I'm going to get a lot of crap, you know. It's just going to be citrus, pithiness, sourness, all this kind of stuff. Because you really probably shouldn't preempt beers, but I'm sick of drinking beers that are like that. That you're thinking, well, try and do something different. And fair play to Marston, they have done something different. And instead of having the citrus being the predominant hop, you've got the more traditional floral and bitterness hops as the more predominant hops in it, and you're just using the citrus as a little bit of accent. And fair play, it actually works, and it shows that they've made an effort and thought about it, rather than just think, well, I'll tell you what, we'll just fire at the same crap everyone else is. They've decided not to do that. They've decided to say, well, let's try and get something a bit more balanced, but more attuned towards the kind of traditional side as the predominant flavours, rather than the kind of new world kind of flavours that everybody's basically ramming down everybody's throat. And well, it's got to be craft beer, it's got to be craft beer, citrus and sour, citrus and sour. So what would I give this out of 10? Yeah, I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to actually give this a minute. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 7 out of a 10. It really is a nice beer. It's nice and refreshing. It's got some nice flavours to it, which are nice and clean, to a good intensity, and they work well together. And it's just, like I've said, nice and refreshing to get more of the kind of traditional flavours, but then using the kind of more new world kind of hop kind of associated flavours as accents, rather than as the kind of the main hop flavours. And yeah, the malt's nicely controlled, the sweetness is really well controlled, and yeah, it works really well with the other flavours. And yeah, 7 out of 10. I would buy this again. I would definitely recommend it. Bit of a surprise, but yeah, well done Marstons, you buggers. So, thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.